We will understand the model of Sylos Labini in this module. But before that, we have seen the price determination under different market structures, that is perfect competition, monopoly, monopolistic competition and oligopoly. In the perfect competition and the monopolistically competitive market structure, we have studied the effects of actual entry of new firms on the price and output decisions of the existing firms. But in monopoly and oligopoly market structures, the existing firms do not worry about the potential entry of new firms. The traditional closed oligopoly models like Kurnu, Bertrand, Edgeworth and Chamberlain do not provide for entry of new firms. Under oligopoly, the number of firms assumed to be constant. It is only the reaction behavior of the existing firms to the moves of the rival is explained. But recently, it has been argued by several economists that the price and output decisions of the existing firms in oligopolistic markets are affected not only by the potential entry of the firms but by the actual entry as well. The prominent economists of these findings are Bain, Sylos Labini, Andrews, Modigliani and Jagdish Bhagwati. Another issue that has been raised by these economists is that the objective of the firm under oligopoly is not to maximize the short-run profits but to maximize the profits over the long run. The oligopolist firm seeks to maximize the profits over the long run after allowing the entry of potential firms that affects the possibility of profit. J.S. Bain, in his pioneering work, A Note on Pricing in Oligopoly and Monopoly 1949, followed by his book Barriers to New Competition, developed the theory of limit pricing. The theory of limit pricing is also known as entry preventing pricing. The theory of Bain's limit pricing has been further developed by Sylos Labini, Modigliani and Jagdish Bhagwati. Sylos Labini further modified the limit pricing theory whose basis was laid by J.S. Bain. According to him, limit pricing laid special emphasis on the economies of scale barriers to entry of potential firms. His analysis of his economies of scale barriers to entry more thorough than that of Bain. He also propounded a postulate about the behavior pattern of established firms as well as the potential firms, and it is known as Sylos postulate. Let us study the Sylos Labini theory of limit pricing in detail. After studying this module, you shall be able to know the concept of limit pricing, know the concept of Sylos postulate, understand how Sylos model is different from Bain model of limit pricing. Sylos Labini laid special emphasis on the economies of scale barriers to entry of potential firms. He assumed a given market demand curve with unitary price elasticity of demand. The products produced by the firms are homogeneous and is being sold by few firms with a price leader firm. He also assumed that three different sizes of plant size are available with which various firms are producing product. The different types of plant size that are available are small, medium and large size. The small plant is available with a capacity of 100 units of output. A medium sized plant with a capacity of 1000 units of output. A large size plant with a capacity of 8000 units of output. Each firm can expand by multiples of its initial plant size only. The small firm can expand by installing another small size plant. A medium firm may expand by setting up a second medium sized plant, and so on. The economies of scale accrues as a size of the plant increases. It is assumed that the nature of technology is rigid. The continuous long run average cost curve cannot be drawn. The long run average cost curve would be straight line curves. We have three cost lines corresponding to the three plant size, and larger the plant size, the lower the long run average cost. The most important feature of the Sylos Labini model is the existence of price leader firm. The price leader firm is the most efficient firm with lowest average cost of production. The price is set by the price leader, who is the largest firm. Except price leader firm, all other firms are so small that they cannot affect the price. That is, they are price takers and not price makers. However, collectively, small firms may put pressure on the leader by regulating their output. The price leader firm sets a price that is acceptable to all the small firms in the industry. But the price that is set by the leader firm must be low enough to prevent entry of the new firms. The leader is fully aware about the cost structure of all plant sizes and the market demand for the product. Sylos Labini also assumed that the entrant is assumed to come into the industry with the smallest plant size. The established firms and the potential firms behave according to what Modigliani called the Sylos postulate. He made an important behavioral assumption concerning the expectation of the established firms and the potential entrants. Firstly, the existing firms expect that the potential entrant will not come into the market if he thinks that the post entry price will fall below his average cost of production. Secondly, the new entrant expects that the established firms will continue in the post entry period to produce the same level of output as in the period before entry, so that as entry takes place the market price falls and the whole of the resulting increase in the quantity demanded accrues to the new entrant. Clearly, this is the same as Bain's model. Sylos has not given any reason for his behavioral pattern. We will now see how limit price is determined under Sylos model. Sylos assumed that there is a normal rate of profit which must be earned by the firms in order to remain in business in the industry. The minimum acceptable price must be enough to cover average total cost and the normal rate of profits. The minimum acceptable price is set according to full cost pricing rule. Thus, the minimum acceptable price can be written as PI ATC is a function of 1 plus R, where PI is the minimum acceptable price to the firm with its plant size. ATC is the average total cost of ith plant size. R is the normal rate of profits of firm. Let us explain it with the help of a diagram. In the figure, quantity is measured on x-axis and price on y-axis. DD is the market demand curve. AC1 is the average cost curve of the large size plant. AC2 is the average cost curve of the medium size plant. And AC3 is the average cost curve of the small size plant. The output OQ is the level of output with the minimum average cost of the small size plant. We have seen above that if a new firm has to enter the industry, then it should set up the smallest size plant. So a new firm enters in the industry with this small size plant with average cost equal to AC3. The price leader firm is the most efficient firm with lowest average cost of production. The price leader firm sets a price that is acceptable to all the small firms in the industry, but the price that is set by the leader firm must be low enough to prevent entry of new firms. Here, the most efficient firm has the lowest average cost AC1. Sylos assumed that the price leader firm does not think it profitable to compete with the smaller firms, and when setting price, he ensures that the least efficient firm with the smaller plant size continues to make normal profits. So, accordingly, the price leader firm will set price above average cost AC3, which is the average cost of the least efficient firm. The price that is set by the price leader firm must be such that it prevents the entry of new firm in the industry. The quantity demanded at price OP3, which is the average cost of the least efficient firm, is OQ2. Given that the new firm can enter the industry with a plant size with productive capacity equal to OQS, then QL is equal to OQ2 minus OQS, provides us the quantity of output corresponding to which price will be set. The quantity of output OQL can be sold at price OPL. According to Sylos, this OPL price is the limit price that prevents the entry of new firm in the industry. This is so because at the price PL, a new firm with an economically viable output OQS enters the industry. The total supply of output QL plus QS will just exceed OQ2. This excess supply of output will cause the price to fall below the average cost AC3 of the least efficient firm, which is also the average cost of the new potential entrant firm. This requirement of average cost of least efficient firm acts as a scale barrier. At limit price PL, all firms are making supernormal profits irrespective of plant sizes. The limit price PL corresponding to output OQL is the equilibrium price because this price is acceptable to all firms and it also prevents the entry of new firms in the industry. Thus, PL acts as an upper limit of the limit price and OP3 acts as the lower limit. The equilibrium price cannot be higher than OPL nor lower than OP3. In other words, any output smaller than OQL will not prevent the entry of new firms, whereas output larger than OQL will deter entry into the industry. According to Sylos, the new potential entrant knows that if it enters the market, then the resultant increase in supply of output would drive the post entry price to fall below its own average cost of production. As price is less than average cost, the firm would incur losses. To quote Sylos, the price tends to settle at a level immediately above the entry preventing price of the least efficient firms, which it is to the advantage of the largest and most efficient firms to let leave. Let us now look at what are the determinants of entry preventing price. The major determinants of the entry preventing price under Sylos model are: first, the absolute size of the market; second, the elasticity of market demand; third, the technology of the industry, which defines the available sizes of plant; fourth, the prices of the factors of production, which together with the technology determine the total average cost of the firms. Let us study them in detail. The relationship between limit price and the absolute size of the market is negative. The greater the market size, the lower the entry prevention price, or lesser the market size, higher is the entry preventing price. If there is an increase in demand, then the demand curve would shift to the right. The effect of this increased demand on the price and the structure of the industry depends on the size and the rate of increase. If the increase in demand occurs rapidly and considerable, and if it at this stage firms wish to prevent the entry of potential entrant, then they must lower the price or set a lower price initially in anticipation of the developments on the demand side, and build up additional capacity to meet the demand, or have adequate foresight so as to keep a continuous reserve capacity. Suppose if the already established firms cannot build up the required capacity, which is fast enough to keep up with the rate of increase in demand, then entry from new firms as well as from already established firms in other industries would take place. This occurs because of abnormal profits earned by existing firms as price is more than average cost. If we suppose relax the restrictive assumption that the potential entrant will enter with the smallest optimal plant size, and accept that large firms from other industries somehow manage to enter at a lower average cost, then some or all of the small firms will be eliminated and price would fall down. As a result, the entire profit drives down to zero because now price is no longer more than average cost of production. Thus, increase in the absolute market size will tend to reduce the price and increase the average plant size in the industry, unless the existing firms can keep their shares constant by keeping continuously adequate reserve capacity. This policy may be very costly. Thus, in fast expanding industries, entry is almost certain to occur and price will be reduced. On the other hand, if the growth of increase in demand is slow, then the established firms would be able to meet the increased demand by appropriate reserve capacity and gradual new investment, and the price will not be reduced unless new techniques with lower cost can be adopted for the larger scales of output to which the established firms are gradually led. Moving on to the elasticity of market demand. The relationship between elasticity of market demand and the limit price is negative. The more elastic the market demand, the lower the price that established firms can charge without attracting entry and vice versa. Suppose there is a considerable increase in the elasticity of demand due to any price reductions, and if the firms are able to identify this change in the elasticity of demand, then the effects of this change in elasticity on price and on market structure are the same as in the case of a shift in the market demand curve. Practically, it is very difficult to detect the changes in the elasticity of market demand, and established firms would not plan ahead on such uncertain changes in the elasticity of market demand. Thus, if elasticity of market demand change substantially, then established firms in other industries would enter into the market, since the existing firms will not be able to cope with such change, and the price would ultimately fall. Next, we have technology and technical change. The technology determines the minimum viable plant size. The larger the minimum viable plant size, the higher will be the limit price. Thus, there is a positive relation between the minimum viable plant and the premium included in the limit price. Technical progress is defined as improvement in technology. Technical progress benefits all plant sizes, small, medium, or large. It results in fall in average cost and price would decrease. If technical progress is such that only large firms have access to it, then the limit price would not change. The large firms would have larger profits, but under the assumptions of Sylos model, the price need not change. If technical progress is associated with product innovation rather than process innovation, then the price in the market would not be affected. One should expect an intensification of non-price competition, as all firms in the industry will attempt to imitate the innovation. The prices of factor of production play an important role in determining the limit price. Any change in the factor prices affects all the firms in the industry in the same way. Thus, an increase in factor prices will lead to an increase in the cost and the limit price in the industry. Similarly, a reduction in factor prices will lead to a decrease in the limit price. Thus, there exists a positive relationship between price of factors of production and limit price. Let us now summarize what we have learned in this module. J.S. Bain, in his pioneering work, A Note on Pricing in Oligopoly and Monopoly, 1949, followed by his book Barriers to New Competition, developed the theory of limit pricing. The theory of limit pricing is also known as entry preventing pricing. The theory of Bain's limit pricing has been further developed by Sylos Labini, Modigliani and Jagdish Bhagwati. Sylos Labini further modified the limit pricing theory whose basis was laid by J.S. Bain. According to him, limit pricing laid special emphasis on the economies of scale barriers to entry of potential firms. His analysis of economies of scale barriers to entry is more thorough than that of Bain. He also propounded a postulate about the behavior pattern of established firms as well as the potential firms, and it is known as Sylos postulate. The most important feature of the Sylos Labini model is the existence of price leader firm. The price leader firm is the most efficient firm with lowest average cost of production. The price is set by the price leader who is the largest firm. Except price leader firm, all other firms are so small that they cannot affect the price, that is, they are price takers and not price makers. However, collectively, small firms may put pressure on the leader regulating their output. The price leader firm set a price that is acceptable to all the small firms in the industry, but the price that is set by the leader firm must be low enough to prevent entry of new firms. The leader is fully aware about the cost structures of all plant size and the market demand for the product. Sylos Labini also assumed that the entrant is assumed to come into the industry with the smallest plant size. According to Sylos, the new potential entrant knows that if it enters the market, then the resultant increase in supply of output would drive the post-entry price to fall below its own average cost of production. As price is less than average cost, the firm would incur losses. Thus, the limit price is fixed so as to restrict the entry of new firms. To quote Sylos, the price tends to settle at a level immediately above the entry preventing price of the least efficient firms, which it is to the advantage of the largest and most efficient firms to let live.